Hello, Internet. Thank you once again for joining me, where we talk all about vertical dramas. I think this might be the favourite interview I've ever done because look where Lawson Greyson is sitting. She's
I
sitting
am
in
here.
like a beautiful outdoor chair.
I know. I'm so lucky. I happen to be back home in Arizona, so I actually have cool chairs to sit in.
Stunning. And I'm really glad my youngest teen isn't here because she desperately wants one of those chairs and we just don't have
Oh
space in
no,
the
I
room.
won't be a good influence on her. I begged my mom for one of these when I was younger, and then she
Yeah.
got one, and now it's the only place I sit.
Look, so that well, that's good though. That will actually
Yes.
strengthen her point because she's like, well, look, there you go. That's where you spend
Yeah,
all your time.
exactly. I will. I will only I'll be on her side, that's for sure, for one of these.
Um, so I can ask the first question. Since you said you're back home in Arizona, is that where
Mhm.
you were born and grew up then?
So yes, I was born in a smaller town. It's called Flagstaff, Arizona. Right now I'm in Phoenix. It's about my hometown's about 2 hours north. But as my parents got older, they didn't want to deal with the snow because it does
Right.
snow, which most people, it's like that's the craziest thing to them. Even people who live in the States, when they find out it snows in Arizona because it's so
Wow.
hot most places.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, so now I'm back home in Phoenix. I was here for Father's Day, and then my brother's actually getting married in a couple months, so we were doing some wedding shopping, which was very fun for some outfits and things.
Oh, and are you involved in the wedding party?
I am. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Oh.
It's gonna be quite an event. They're getting married later this year in the East Coast. But yeah, it's gonna be crazy. She's his fiance is from India, so it's like a whole production. Yeah. So it's like
Yes.
3 days
Oh,
long, isn't it?
let's
Oh,
watch
I'm so
this.
excited. I've been like sending her all the outfits and like what to wear and what to do, and I'm choreographing a dance for it for my family, which I'm so excited for. I'm very nervous though. I'm like, that's a big undertaking.
Yeah. Oh no, that sounds awesome.
But so fun.
And you will get multiple outfit changes as well, hopefully.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the fun part.
So, as you grew up, was acting something you always wanted to do, or were there other dream roles, careers, things that you thought about?
Yeah. I think I grew up homeschooled, so I had a lot of time on my hands. I kind of it was definitely something I wanted to do when I was really young. I think probably like 4 or 5. It was something that was very interesting to me. But being in a smaller city or smaller town, it just wasn't super available. All there was theater. I did theater like once and I played a moth and I was like so beyond bored because I think I had like one line and I was like, Mom, I never want to do that again. I was like so bored out of my mind. I was like, I just stood there. I didn't get to do anything fun. And so then I kind of went through the gamut of wanting to be so many different things. Like I wanted to be a neuroscientist for a long time. Then I wanted to be a gymnastics coach. It just kind of was all over the board. And then when I was about 17, I was a gymnast and a dancer, and I decided to quit both of those. I went into gymnastics and then straight into dance. And then I was like all of a sudden like it was a lot on my body. So I was like, okay, maybe we need a break. And so I quit and all of a sudden I was like, oh, I had all this time and I didn't really know what to do with it. And it kind of came back to me of like, oh, maybe I can try acting again. We'll see what happens. And I got in an acting class and I did a short film in Arizona locally. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is what I want to do.
Do you remember
So
what it was about that short film? Like, what was it that gave you that buzz that you're like, this is
it
what I'm supposed
was.
to be doing?
That's such a good question. I remember it was called Chimera. I think it was just the fact that I got a sounds terrible, but I kind of got a break from being myself. I think in a weird sort of way, it was a wonderful thing to be able to step in someone else's shoes. I think I'm very lucky that my personality is kind of primed for sets. I really like new environments. I like meeting new people. I like challenges. And I think with the being on set, it's like things are always changing. There's constantly new people, there's constantly new things happening all at once. And I think that was really exciting to me. And it was also very challenging. I'm very A-type personality, so I like a lot of control. And I think not having some of the control is really good for me, even though it sometimes drives me up a wall. But yeah, I think it was just all of it. And it was so fun. And then there was like, well, someone died in it and I got blood splattered on me. So it just felt so surreal. And I think it was really nice to be in like a different world for a little bit.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. I
Yeah.
get quite tired of being stuck in my own brain with only myself for company.
Right? That's what I tell people. I'm like, it's so nice not being me for a couple hours,
Yeah,
which sounds like,
and then you're more happy to like meet yourself and go back again, aren't
right,
you?
exactly. Then you come back to your own life and you're like, oh, no one's dying. This isn't so bad, actually.
um, so I'm guessing, being in Arizona, that's probably not the film capital.
Definitely not.
So when did you decide with the acting of like to pursue? And did you go East Coast, West Coast? What did you do
Yeah.
first?
So I went to West Coast. I went immediately to LA when I was 18. So as soon as yeah, it was I look back and I'm like, I was such a bold human. Whoa. It was quite the leap and I went out by myself. I shouldn't say completely. My mom was so wonderful and so helpful in so many regards and like made sure I was safe and comfortable and helped me with the move. But I do remember the first day I moved to LA, I got a flat tire. I was driving down
Oh,
I was driving down a very famous street in LA called Melrose, and we were trying to find somewhere to eat. And I was with my mom and my aunt, and I hit a pothole, and I was like, ugh. I was like, wow, if that isn't a welcome to LA, I don't know what is. So yeah, I ended up staying. I was in LA in like when I turned 18, and then I was there for like 4 years, and then I decided to take a little bit of a break. Um, for I got to the point where the industry's so hard and I wasn't really booking anything. And it was before verticals had really become a thing. And so I think I was just like, ugh, I need a break. So then I went back to Arizona for a minute. Then I went to Texas for a while to do some martial arts stuff, which was so fun. And then I was fortunate enough to come back about a year and a half ago. And I've been working consistently in the vertical space. And I feel so grateful.
okay. I know we're here to talk about verticals, but you just dropped the line, did some martial arts stuff. Can we
Yes,
expand on that?
I
Because
would.
I'm like, that sounds cool.
I would love to. I got really into Brazilian jiu-jitsu for a while. Oh, I love it. It's so fun. I think just growing up doing competitive athletics, especially gymnastics, I got into it one day. My brother it was when I was back in Arizona and my brother goes, "Hey, I'm going to go take a Muay Thai class, which is like striking. Do you want to go do it with me?" And I was like, "Oh, getting punched doesn't really sound fun." And then he's like, well, and then the next day, I think he went to do a jujitsu class, which is like more ground game, rolling around, submission based.
Mhm.
And I tried it and I was like, this is so fun. It's very challenging. But yeah, I did it. I did it for a long time. I do no gi, which is like without the robe. You put me in a gi, which is like the traditional like pants and the robe and the belt, and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So different because no gi has a tendency to be a lot faster. It's a little bit not more athletic, but it's just because you don't have anything to really grab onto. It's just skin basically.
Mhm.
You can move a lot quicker. So then you put me in fabric and someone grabs my wrists and I'm like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. Let go of me.
That's so cool. And
Yeah.
also casting people,
I
action
know. I know. I
started.
trust me. I tell them all the time because I want to do an assassin or something super give me a fight scene. So I'm constantly vouching for that.
I know the vertical actor Ben Taylor's a massive jiu-jitsu fan as well. So I'm
Really?
thinking,
We
how
haven't
do
worked
you
together.
like?
I'm gonna have to bring that up. I'll have to reach out to him and be like, we
You know
need
what
to
I
do
mean?
something
That
with
it could work.
jujitsu.
Although my worry is that he'll probably be the one that you said isn't your speciality. But I'm sure you could work it out
I know he'll
between you.
probably put me in a gi and I'm gonna be like, I hate you. I don't know
Yeah,
what to do in
exactly.
this.
So, yeah. So that's really awesome. So do you remember kind of what if you were doing stuff like that that you really enjoy, what kind of
Mhm.
sparked actually I want to give the acting a go again? Was there
Yeah, I was really enjoying. I was in Austin, Texas. I was doing some jujitsu. I was bartending, and I obviously acting was always the big dream. And I think I just kind of got to the point where I really loved Texas. I was having such a good time, but something was missing. It's like that little like birdie in the ear of like, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing the rest of my life. And I got so lucky that my manager I have now, who I adore to pieces, reached out to me and was basically like, hey, I think you're super talented. Why aren't you working? Like, why aren't you doing more right now? And so I was like, oh gosh, okay. And so I signed with her January of last year, so 2024. And I just I'm so incredibly lucky because your representation makes such a difference
Mhm.
to your career. And literally, I think within the first 3 weeks, I booked my first vertical with her.
So, had you heard of verticals?
No, which was
Okay.
crazy. So I got a call back for one, and I didn't really know what it was. Because back then they were calling them mobisodes. So it was like so different. The space was so different. And yeah, and so then I booked Prince Reagan with Emily Gately
Mm.
and Sam, and and we actually, that one was crazy. We had like a full stunt rehearsal, and if like it was a pretty decently big production, which we know now. I know with verticals, it's like very big luxury, and it was a werewolf one, and I had to like fly back from Texas. And then it was probably one of the most stressful things ever, like moving. And then I had to break my apartment lease because then I booked like 3 other projects in a row, which is
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, I got so lucky. I booked a feature film and then another vertical. And so I was like, oh, this might be a viable career now. And so once I got on set for the first vertical I did, which was Prince Reagan, I was like, how was I doing anything else? It was so fun. And it was like some stunts, which I loved coming straight from like being heavily into martial arts. And I just immediately was like, okay, like, and then the fact I kept booking was wild. Like I never, even when I was like teetering on the idea of coming back, like being the idea of a working actor felt so out of reach. So basically stepping almost right into it was a dream.
It's really interesting what you said because I think there is that when you look back at the earlier verticals, they were in a way
Mhm.
kind of more inventive.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we
because
didn't have, I think, such strong tropes yet.
yeah, so for instance, the other one that you did, and I really love this one, is the
Mhm.
Assassin's Apprentice falling for the target
Yes. Yes.
because it's kind of mafia, but it's much more like Kelsey Mascall's like a really kick-ass female lead.
Yeah, she's such a kick-ass. And
It's more
that
of
was,
a
I think,
that kind of thing,
my
isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, it was so wonderful. And she's just a dream. Kelsey is one of the sweetest humans ever. It was funny when I met her though, because obviously I'm supposed to be this not so nice woman and very competitive towards her, but she is like almost a foot taller than me in person.
Oh,
She's very tall, and I did not get the height gene,
yeah.
unfortunately, in my genetics. And I remember meeting her and being like, oh, this is going to be hilarious. I was like, we have to ham this up in those takes that she's so much taller than me. Cause like I'm coming up to her, like looking up and being like, how the fuck, who do you think you are? Like, but that one was very special and so fun. And our director on that one was a blast. But yeah, that one was, I think that was my third one I did. And it just, so fun. Like you said, it was really cool to see a really strong female character in it.
I have to ask with those early ones because obviously you start off in quite a few of them as you are playing the villain.
Yes.
Were you all right with that? Because I know
Yeah, I
sometimes it
was.
becomes a bit like I'm in villain jail now.
Yes, I mean, I know. And that's kind of the weird thing with verticals is they have a tendency to really like to like put you in one lane and that's what they want you to be. So I think I was fortunate in the beginning that the first couple I did were villains and then I got really early on, I think like my fourth one was a lead, which was knocked up by my billionaire's ex-fiance's uncle or something
Very
like
good.
that. The
You're
longest
one
name in
of the
existence.
first, by the way, to get with the uncle. Everyone else
I
just copied
know.
you. You were
And I
like the
got
OG.
so lucky. Oh my God, when I booked that, I was so concerned because I didn't know the title. They did not have the title on the casting. And this was before I knew better to like get the script and read it and everything before I signed on. I was just excited that I booked a lead. And I was like, then when I read it, I was like, oh God. I was like, who is this uncle that I'm going to be acting with? I was so concerned. It was going to be just some weird older man that I was going to be so uncomfortable with. I was so fortunate it was TJ Wilk, who is just such a lovely human to work with. And we worked a couple times together now. But yeah, no, I was very nervous. But going back to playing villain, so I can answer that question because I'll go all over the place. It's something I talk about a lot with just women in this space is like, I'm okay being the bad person when it's so clear they're a bad person.
Mm,
If that makes sense. Like
yeah.
I actually, there's something really fun about the villains in these. They feel very, you get to try a lot more than I think maybe being the lead. The lead feels very, specific and they want a sweet, usually, at least what I get, very sweet, docile woman who cries a lot, which it can be very fun. But with the villains, there's something that you just get to add a little extra spice, I think, and no one tries to deter you from doing that, which I think is a lot of fun. I definitely get to make stronger choices as an actor playing the villains, I think.
What did you mean when you said that you want it to be clear that they are the villain as such?
I think sometimes in the vertical world, you get the good people, especially the good men, making very questionable decisions and then playing it off as if it's okay. And I think
Ah,
that's
yeah,
something a lot of the actors are trying to change within this space. Like a lot of like the spotty areas of consent with like sexual things or with violence and things of that nature. So I have a harder time when like the good people do bad things and
mm,
it's not clear that that's a bad thing, if that
yeah.
makes sense. So
So
something
yeah,
about the
it's kind of
villains,
it's like it's very clearly this is an unhinged person who is
right?
taking things way too far.
Exactly. So it's like bad person doing bad things and it's so clear that that's what it is. And I think that's something that they almost freeze you up a little bit and you don't have to maybe fight as hard to be like, hey, this isn't okay, we're not doing this.
Yeah,
Which isn't always the easiest thing when it's in the script.
yeah. No, that makes total sense, and I think it's really helpful for people to know. Um, I have to talk about "Cherished" by my ex-husband's brother
Yes, with
because I
Grayson.
love that one. Um,
So fun.
but I also, obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, Lawson and Brittany, who is the lead in that, are really good friends.
Yes.
That's why we're
Really
like,
good
this is
friends.
the one where they met.
Yes, it was. And it was so funny when I met her. I don't know if I've ever told her this. I think I have. She walked in, and Brittany is like, it's so funny because she is one of you met her. She's so spunky, so vivacious, so wonderful. When she walked in, I was like, oh no, we're not going to be friends. Because I got there first.
Oh,
I think I had the first scene of the day. It was like the very first day of the whole shoot. I had the first scene and she wasn't in it. It was like when I'm like spying in the kitchen and I'm like trying to um I'm creating my plan to destroy her life.
hmm.
And she walked in and she was so quiet. I don't know. She's not a morning person. I think that's what it was. It was a very early morning and she's bless her soul. You get that woman up before like 9 and she's like, don't talk to me. So I think it was just that circumstance that she was really early, and I was like, oh, it's like, oh no, she doesn't like me. We're not gonna be friends. And I'm very like puppy dog. I'm like, be my friend, please be my friend. Do you like me? Are we friends now? And so when I first met her, I was like, oh no, this could be bad. But then I got super lucky because I think it was like after the first scene, we just hit it off. And now we've done 6 verticals together, which is crazy.
So I have to ask, because some other creators I've talked to have mentioned this. Is it kind of freeing in the acting when off screen you trust each other that much because you know you can push it? Does
So
that make
freeing.
sense?
It's so freeing. It also sometimes makes acting a little harder. And the only reason I say that is because now I know Brittany's tells, like when she's about to break. Because we know each other so oh my goodness. And her tell is the funniest thing in the world. She bites her cheek and she breathes in. She goes so, so I when we did the lady boss one, it has the longest name that I can't remember. I was faking cancer in it. And she at one point rips off my bald cap. And so we knew we only had one take in that. And so she goes, rips off my bald cap, and she literally just looks down and goes, and I then had to like take the deepest breath because neither of us could break. And then we were lucky enough that we could keep going without laughing. But I think it's so freeing in the way that like I know that I can try things and she's going to be there for me and willing to continue the play, like continue the energy of wherever I end up or she ends up taking it. But then in other ways, if we are remotely loopy or it's a late night, we will be laughing or we will break every time.
So I can see that. Yeah, it's almost there's
Yeah.
too much fun being had. So,
Yes, way too much fun. And you can see it in some takes, like especially the one like in My Lady Boss, you'll see there's certain takes where we're breaking. Like there's one point I think when I was so mad at her. I tried to push her in the pool and I end up falling. Well, it was freezing that night. It was like very the pool was absolutely frigid. It was so cold. Anyways, we only got once again, only we're gonna do one take of it because it was so cold and they were worried about Tyler and I's health. So I get pushed in and I look up at her and she's not her coverage not isn't happening because they're doing that separate. She's laughing. because she thought it was the funniest thing that I was in this pool. Like, and so I looked at her, and you can see me at one point. I smile a little bit.
Oh,
Um, I got out, and I was like, "You're such a brat."
but that's really interesting. So when you do the pool scenes, you go in
Uh-huh.
yourself then. Is there an art to it?
I
For
think
those
it's
scenes?
commitment. It's just you have to commit all the way, especially because like with that one, especially because I've been now thrown into a pool, I think 3 times or so, or like fallen in myself. And that was definitely the coldest night. I think it was probably one of the coldest night we've had in California for that whole winter. So, and the pool was not heated. It was so cold.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, it was more of like a mental preparation of like, I can do this. It's going to add to the acting of like, how dare you, like screaming. But I think it's just like a full commit. You just have to commit to the fact of where you just like flailing around in this pool with as much gusto as I could possibly muster.
And just what's it like? Because obviously, particularly if you're playing a villain, you're normally in a pretty awesome outfit, but you're normally in some
Yes.
sort of glamorous gown. I mean, presumably that physically makes it quite difficult in a pool and the gown's ruined, so you can't do
Yes,
it again.
it was not the easiest thing. I actually did better than I would have thought with that fabric, but it was funny because once Tyler falls in and gets me, like helps me back out, that's when it got a little more complicated because he was like under me and I'm like, fuck, you're dragging me down, dude. But yeah, it definitely adds to the stress of the moment, I would say.
And then presumably what happens, you get out and then basically, do you get like, I'm hoping you get a nice cozy dry robe or something and a warm
I
drink.
was very lucky. Our producer on that one, her name is Faye, and she's one of my favorite humans in the entire world. We could be sisters. We look so much alike. Actually, when I showed up to set one day, I was like, we could be the same person. She's an absolute dream to work with and just a lovely human. But she had a whole plan because we knew the pool wasn't going to be heated. And I have a condition, it's called POTS, but essentially my body doesn't adjust to temperature super well. That's one of
Oh
like the
wow.
side effects of it. So
Yeah.
we were really worried that I was going to pass out because that'll be if I get really hot or really cold, I have a tendency to hit the ground. And so it was very much of like, okay, how are we going to do this? But she was so smart. She ended up doing is we filmed all the coverage for everyone before we fell in. And then what we did is once I fell in the pool, we finished out that take. And then they rushed me to like, we had a tent with a fire. And then they put me inside of like a little dressing tent, like where you change your clothes. And then they put blow dryers in that tent. So I was in like a little hot, like air contained vessel. And then what they had me do was I took off I had shorts under the dress. So I took off the wet shorts and I put on my comfortable sweatpants that were hot that they had been like putting next to the fire. And then we did the rest of the coverage from like here up. And then I was able to have my dry sweatpants on. And it was really funny because I was very much like trying to get dry, where Tyler was like, I'm fine. I'm like, I don't feel it at all. And so he didn't get in like the warm tent or change his clothes at all. And then we got back to set and he was like, I'm so cold. And we're like, I wonder why, Tyler.
There's such a lesson there, isn't it? Of like the guy
Such a
trying to be like, I don't need this.
Yes, and it was so funny because we were giving him so much grief, being like, Tyler, you're going to be really cold. And he was very much like, no, I'm fine. Everything's going to be fine. So it was quite funny in the moment. We felt very vindicated in the fact that we were right.
That's always a sweet moment, just when you know.
Yes. Yes, it was so funny, especially because when we got to set and he was like, ugh. It's like, I'm really cold. And Brittany and I were just looking at each other, especially because we know each other so well. And we're like, mm-hmm.
I have to ask, because obviously you've played some great villains. Do
Yes.
you have particular favourites? Like either ones where you're like, she was so unhinged, I love her. And also on the
Yes.
flip side, where you're like, she kind of had a point, I felt for her.
Oh, okay. Yes. I think for like unhingedness, I had a lot of fun on Return to make them pay with oh, it's actually probably going to be a tie between that one with Jesse Gallagher and then my villain on All I Want Is You with
Mhm.
Noah Fernley.
Yeah.
She was just ridiculous. The fact of someone hiding in a house for a weeks on end.
I did love
Uh,
that.
it was
It was
oh,
the thing. It was the
and
excellent
just
hide and seek.
so funny. And there were so many moments where I love Noah to pieces. He's very blunt. Where he was like, because there's one point where I'm like under the table and I'm talking. So like, and I'm not far from them. Like I could touch Noah if I wanted to. But you know, movie magic, it makes me look like I'm not so close. And he was like, can't we hear her? And our director was so funny. She was like, yeah, don't worry about it. And Noah was just like, what? So that one I think was just so fun. And then
You
because
did
of the
very
absurdity.
good exaggerated stealth creeping, by the way.
Thank you.
It was
Thank
very
you. That
good.
was really fun and just so ridiculous in the regard of like me hiding around the house and so unjustified. Talk about a character who wasn't justified. She had nothing from him, this man, and decided to take a mile. He gave her like a centimeter, if that. So that one was really funny. And then kind of along the same vein was Return to Make Them Pay with Jesse Gallagher. That one was more just the fact that my counterpart in it, who was played by Philip Balmer, is one of the most. Brittany's worked with him as well, and will like attest to this. Hilarious humans that, and just a great improver. So working with him, and then I had already heard stories from Brittany of how hilarious he was. We called him Ball Crushing Guy because in one of the ones she did, I don't remember the name of it. I wish I did. It was for real short. But there was a decorative like ball on a table and he was like really mad in the scene. So out of nowhere, he grabs the ball and starts trying to crush it, but it's metal. It's not going to be crushed. So he was like, and so Brittany tells me this story and then I work with him. And so I called him Ball Crushing Guy for a very long time. But doing scenes with him just felt like I was a kid because we were just having so much fun. There's a point where he's like, we were improvising and he's shoving cupcakes into his face. And I had to physically turn away from the camera because you can see my body like shaking because I was laughing so hard, but I was trying so hard to stay quiet. So I think that one was just, and my character felt really grounded at the same time. So playing opposite of him was just a blast. In that villain. And then I feel like someone who was vindicated in her opinions would probably be when I played an Assassin's Apprentice. I felt that Laura had a lot at stake and she felt that, you know, she was going to lose her whole career and her love, you know, this man that she's known her whole life and was helping, you know, protect. So I think, and I also love that one wasn't necessarily a love interest either.
Yeah.
I think she, you know, like she wasn't super interested in Aaron. She just wanted to be the best assassin. And I think there was something really cool about that. It wasn't about the guy for once.
That is quite nice. It gives you a bit more to play with, doesn't it?
Yeah,
In terms of
exactly. And I always
illustration,
try
it
to
isn't
give
just
them
whatever random
right.
man. As in,
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I have decided I am marrying you, and there's a relationship here, and you're like,
Yeah,
it's
and
got
you're like,
nothing.
what? So I think there was something really something that felt very grounded and that she really had a lot to lose. And it wasn't just about a guy, it was about her career, her whole career that she'd probably been working since she was a child, since a lot of the time in the, you know, that's what assassins are. They're brought up since they're a baby, being an assassin. So yeah.
Yeah, we do need more like assassin ones as well. I do think that needs to
Oh,
come
I
back.
would love, I'm trying to, we'll see, hopefully get one made that's more of an assassin type one. So fingers crossed.
But obviously, the lovely thing as well is that you have played leads as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Out of your leads, kind of what are your favourite roles that you remember, like the ones that you really loved?
Yeah, I loved it's a true love like fine wine, I think is what they changed the name to or
Oh,
something.
it's called Love Ages Like Fine Wine at the
Love
moment?
ages like fine wine. Thank you. They changed the name a little bit and I couldn't remember how they tweaked it, but that was for real short. And there's like some projects that you just join that just feel like lightning in a bottle. And I think that was one of the ones where I loved the character. She felt like a real person, which I really liked. And I loved her arc too. I felt like she really grew within herself towards the end. And she was very sweet and very funny too. I liked that there was a lot of comedic elements in that with me breaking the fourth wall. And that wasn't originally scripted. That was just one of the voiceovers I had. We're like, let's try it to camera. And it ended up,
Oh, wow.
I know. And it worked.
Yeah.
And so there was something really fun about playing off the audience as a person, because sometimes those voiceovers can feel so egregious and just so unnecessary a lot of the time. Like, let me tell you exactly what I'm thinking. So I think adding that element made it really, really fun. And Ian, who I was playing opposite of, was just so funny and really fun to work with. So I think that one just felt really special, and I loved that character, Grace, and the girl, also the villain playing opposite of me, Alexis Abrams, is now one of my closest friends. And so
She's brilliant. Yeah.
there's yeah, she's so good, and she's such a good actress. And I think I remember doing our first scene together, and she kind of there's very few people, and I shouldn't say few, but there's like those times where you act with someone and it changes the way you act, like as a artist. And I remember acting with her, and she was so grounded and so real, and it really felt like this person she was being was just like a real person, but was so like set in her ways. And I remember doing a scene with her. I think it was in the house when she's trying to stop me from leaving,
Mm.
and we were acting together, and I was like, whoa. I need to ground myself more to be able to act with her because she was just so good. And I think that was kind of like, in a weird sort of way, like life altering in my career, which I feel very grateful for.
That is that what you would say is one of the more rewarding things on set, just when you get to interact and act with people like that, and it kind of helps you sort of elevate and
Oh
raise
my
what you're
gosh.
doing?
Yeah, so much so. When you have those moments with actors, like I've had a couple moments with Brittany like that. Noah's another one of those people that you just act with and it just feels electric. Like there's an energy behind it where it feels like you're not just like there's almost like another energy in the room.
Mm.
And I think when you have those moments, it's like it's not a lot of the case, especially in verticals, just because we're dealing with really pacing of filming, and we're dealing with some outlandish storylines, and a lot of the time we're just dealing with a lot of circumstances that don't necessarily foster that feeling that you get sometimes on bigger sets or sets where you have more time and there's different circumstances. So when you do get those, it's like, this is what it is for. Like, this is why we act. So yeah, it's such a gift when you have those moments.
Mm. You have done a few werewolf ones.
Yes.
I kind of feel a bit cheeky asking this, but I get that
Yes.
you're someone who can see the humour in
Hmm.
some
Oh my
of
God.
what goes on in
Yes.
verticals, and it really is. How do you all get through some of the werewolf ones with a straight face?
Mhm.
I don't think it's too cheeky to ask that, but I can
No,
see
no, no.
it
Trust me.
might be an issue.
When I did the one with TJ, because we did Alpha in a Coma, or My Destined Mate Alpha in a Coma, he there was one point where he has to like jump into being like his werewolf self, like from transforming into the werewolf into human. I don't think I got through one take with a straight face. Because there's something about watching a grown man jump in place from like imagining him transforming from a werewolf that was so comedic to me. And then I think I've been very lucky that I have so far not had to howl.
You are lucky, actually. Yeah,
I
you are.
know.
I've
Cause
heard.
I remember Brittany calling me one day because she did a werewolf one, My Luna or something like that. And she calls me and she goes, Lawson, I have to howl. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. She was like, how does one howl? And I was like, I'm so grateful because I don't know if I could get through it. I was like, I think that's a moment you just fully have to commit to the absurdity of the situation you're in.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many takes where you don't get through it in a straight face. There was one, the same one I did with TJ. Our director, Oliver, brought in a stuffed animal that was a werewolf for some of the scenes so we could like envision this werewolf. And it made it so much worse.
Yeah,
Because
because I can see.
now, now it's not just our imagination. There is a stuffed werewolf just like chilling on set with us. So I have some pictures of him like holding it. And then there's like one point that they use one of like the more villainous guys as getting attacked by a werewolf. And that is a stuffed animal. I was
Yeah.
in Video Village watching it on monitors, laughing my butt off. I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard. And I was like, thank goodness I'm not in this scene because I would have ruined it.
But you've got to enjoy it, haven't you? One of my favourite stories that I heard from, I think it was Brooke Moultram, who was
Yeah.
they were filming outside somewhere in
Mhm.
LA, and she'd been like rejected. So I was doing the full, howl scream. I've been told to go into it. And yeah, the neighbours called the police because they thought there was a disturbance going on. So the police turned up and like, what's happening? So I've been rejected by my featured mate. It's like,
Wow.
I just love that. So yeah, it's just like
That's hilarious. I could only imagine. Yeah, you're dealing with such hilarious circumstances, especially on the werewolf ones.
but yeah, but just does it surprise you how popular they are? Because they are,
Sometimes, yeah,
yeah.
some of the ones, especially when you're doing them, because now I think I've been fortunate enough. I've done 25, which is
Mm.
crazy. And there's some you read where you're like, wow, this is so good. And then you read other ones and you're like, this makes no sense. And it's funny the ones that audiences sometimes connect with. It's not the ones you always think they're going to be.
That's
Um,
really interesting that you can't look at a script and go, this is the one that will go big or
take
go
off.
viral.
No, like the one I did, all the love to them. But the one I did with Brittany, Return of My Ex Lady Boss, it's such a long, absurd name that we also did with Tyler. I remember reading it, and Brittany's the one who brought me onto it. And we both, because I had a project that fell through, and so then I was like out of work, and it was this whole thing. And she's such a sweetheart, and I'd already worked with the company a couple times, and she was like, "Please hire her. She's so good." And they had their villain drop out, so it just happened to work out really perfectly. But I remember we both read the script, and she just went, "I'm so sorry." Because I don't think either of us really realized what we were signing on to. But it was so funny because we ended up doing it, and it ended up in the moment actually playing off way better than I would have anticipated. Especially playing a character who was faking cancer and trying to take other people's organs. It it felt yeah, when we were filming it, and then when we saw the edit and the audience response, people really enjoyed it, which wasn't something I think any of us were expecting. So yeah, it is quite funny. You never know which one is going to do well because all the ones that I thought where I was like, this one is going to do so well, it wasn't the case, which is really funny.
Which actually I kind of think that's quite fun because that is art, isn't it? That you can't predict how an audience will react to it. So it's
Which
kind
is
of
kind of wonderful because I think if we could all predict, then we'd all be gunning after the exact same roles. So there's something nice about the unknowing of what's going to happen.
so I have to ask about filming in China.
Yes.
Actually, no, hang on, no, I don't. First of all, I want to ask about filming on the plane.
Yes, filming on the plane.
I'm very
Um,
excited about this because clearly at some point someone found a plane. And then there's been a lot of verticals on a plane because someone went, there's a plane we can film on. What would
yes.
male leads look good? Let's stick them an aviator and a pilot.
Yes.
How does it
I
actually work? Where does this plane exist? Is there just like a queue of you constantly going on to film the vertical on a plane?
basically actually what they did is it is a real plane, but it is basically cut in half. So it's like
Yeah.
a plane, but like the front is actually separated from the plane.
Oh.
So they have more room and more angles so that way they can get behind you because filming in a plane not easy because that
Mm.
one plane is actual like it is a full plane, it's just cut in two pieces. And so getting lights in there and then getting angles, excuse me, and then like there's one point in that plane where I like fall into Jennings' arms. And that was very challenging because you're just in such tight quarters. So yeah, I think we were one of the first pilot ones that came out, if I'm not mistaken, Hot Love Above the Clouds. And but yeah, it was yeah, you just have a bunch of actors now going in and out of this plane. It is on a set though. So it's inside, which is wild. And I think there's a couple different sets in LA that have planes, but that one I think is the most popular one that we filmed at just because I think it's probably the cheapest. But it was quite fun. It was wild though, especially when I first came in the cockpit. Um, it was quite funny. Jennings is such a dream to work with and just such a sweetheart. But he was like, "Hey, how do I fly a plane?" He's like, "I'm gonna look like an absolute idiot because our director comes in and he's such a also wonderful. But was like, "Hey, can you like start like touching things and like making it?" And he goes, "I don't know how to fly a plane. This is gonna look ridiculous." So he's just touching random buttons and trying to make it look like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really the vertical budget, isn't it? Go and have, 6 month in-depth,
Yeah.
methods, learn how to fly a plane.
No, definitely not. I think we had been in that cockpit for like 2 seconds before he was like, all right, figure it out. And we were like, okay.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. So I just wanted to know about that. And then I wanted to ask you about China. So, oh, look, I could do a brilliant. And then you got on a plane and flew to
They
China.
flew to
You know what you
China.
did there?
An 18-hour flight. It was quite crazy. So that was another one Brittany got me on. Which I'm so she it was really funny because she called me out of the blue and I hadn't talked to her. This was before we had become like super close. China is really what binded our friendship for eternity.
Oh.
But she called me on her, or maybe she texted. I think it was a call. She calls me and she goes, "Hey, do you want to go to China?" And I was like, context, please," because that's all she said. And so then obviously I found out later on where she's like, "Hey, I have this producer who wants to take me to China. They're letting me pick who I would like to go with. Would you like to basically send in?" I don't even think they had me send in a tape. I think I just got on a call and did like a callback with the producer. And obviously they liked me and they saw the stuff I'd done. Because I'd done so many at that point. And yeah, so we ended up going to China together. It was a big learning experience. I think you've maybe heard that the hours are a little bit different than what we're used to in the US, and the environment was different than we were used to. It was very cold. For half of our shoot, we filmed half in the south of China in Zhuhai and then half up in near Beijing. So I a lot of delirious nights. I think Brittany and I had a wonderful time. We laughed harder, I think, on that trip than I maybe laughed in my life, just because there were so many crazy circumstances. Um, I don't know if she told you, but we went and saw Wicked in China, and we had a guide. Yeah, so we'd been waiting for weeks. Her and I both adore Wicked, and we're so excited. Our poor male co-stars were probably annoyed to beyond belief. Brandon was a little bit better because he likes musical theater, but because we were just talking about this movie constantly and how bad we wanted to see it, but it didn't come out until like 2 weeks after in China. So we were trying to like avoid social media to like get spoilers. So our guide, Jill, who was phenomenal, our translator, was like, "Hey, I found you guys a showing. It's in English." And we're like, "Great." So we go to the theater, and movies are a little bit different there. You buy the tickets in a different way. So we were so clueless and like couldn't figure out where we were going. Anyways, eventually got into the theater, and we were a couple minutes late. So it starts in with Ariana Grande singing, and so in English, and then she goes to speak, and it's Chinese,
Oh.
dubbed. So Brittany and I just
Oh
look at
no.
each other, and we were like, "Oh no!" And so, and we were the only ones in the theater other than these two older gentlemen who were the sweetest people ever. They were like, they had to have been like grandpas watching this movie. It was adorable. And so we were like, "Oh no." And so we end up leaving the theater. The poor, like the one of the ladies that works there is like following us out. We don't obviously don't speak Chinese. She doesn't speak English. We don't speak any Mandarin. And so she's like trying to communicate to us, basically ask what's wrong. And we were like, English. We needed it in English, being so embarrassed. We felt so uncultured. And then so luckily, because we were leaving later that day to go a couple hours outside of Beijing to start filming, and they didn't have movie theaters. And so luckily our guide before we left ended up finding us a showing that was indeed in English. But that was quite a wild experience.
Particularly
Especially
as
because,
you're like, oh, it's all going to be fine until you get to the
yeah.
speaking
And
part. And you're like, oh.
yeah, and it which made it even funnier. The dramatic, the comedic element of it. And especially because Brittany and I just looked at each other, and it was early too, because we were leaving that day. So I think we got up at like 7 a.m. And once again, love Brittany to pieces, not a morning girl. So she like was like waiting for me in the lobby, being like, "I'm gonna die." So it was so funny. And so we ended up, luckily, like I said, finding one in English. But I think that it was so funny. And now a great story.
I have to ask you as well about, because obviously
Yeah.
I'm trying to act as hype machine for Campus Rivals,
Yes, yes.
which you are in.
Yeah.
Um, right, I have to see, what information can I get out of you, Lawson Greyson?
Okay.
What can you
What
share with
information
me?
can you get out of me? Well, I play Vanessa's best friend. I think I can say that much
Hmm.
in it. Which I was so excited for because I'm always a champion of women having women friends, and that doesn't happen very often in these. I think this was actually my first time having a female friend in a vertical. All my friends have been gay best friends in these, which is still lovely. I love a gay man. But I was like, we need more female friendship in these to show that women actually like each other. So I felt super lucky when I got the audition. And then when I saw it was Adam, I know you talked with Adam. I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but we did a short film together 8 years ago.
He did. And he said you hadn't seen each
Yes.
other since then.
Yeah, and we hadn't seen each other since. And so we both followed each other on Instagram. So we'd both been seeing that we were in the vertical world. And like I almost did one he was on, and then it ended up conflicting with a different one I did. So we kept like ships in the night missing each other on these projects. And so when I got this audition, I was so excited. And then yeah, Adam reached out and was basically like, we loved you. Would you like to do it? And this was before I had never met Eric before. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't read the script yet. But I knew I really wanted to work with Adam. And then I found out Brittany was also on it. So then I was sold. I was like, now I have to do this. And it was, like I said, one of those ones where it was just so much fun filming. Every person on that cast and crew is so talented. And then having people like Adam and Eric creative producing, I think gave us a lot of freedom in our choices and our performances that I think otherwise we don't have the luxury of having, just because you have people who are actors who understand your plight, and also people who are trying to get more nuance into verticals and these stories. And both Adam and Eric are so beyond talent, and Vanessa, oh my goodness, talk about a beautiful actress and such a lovely person to play my best friend in that. I felt it was such a gift, because they're all, I could, you know, glow or compliment on and on and on about how just talented every single person in that cast was. And so just every day on set, it felt like just like walking onto like just being with your best friends. I was
Really
just so
interesting,
excited.
because that's what they said they wanted to create as an atmosphere, that it felt
Right.
like.
And they did.
Yeah.
They did such a good job of it. And it just felt so fun and so safe. And like I showed up like, because you're working so many hours. There's very few times where you show up to set when you don't have to be there. Just because you're like, oh, I need to do laundry and like do normal human things, not working 12 hours a day. But it was like every day we were there, everyone wanted to be there. So it was like people were coming on their days off. People were showing up 3 hours early to their call time, just because we wanted to be there on set, being a part of this thing that just felt so magical. And then obviously having so many fun guest stars was such a dream. I do get to take credit for getting Jessie Gallagher. She's already on the IMDb, so I think I can say this there. Because Eric texted me, and we had worked together not that long ago on Return to Make Them Pay. And her and I just love each other. I fell in love with that woman. She's one of the funniest people I've ever met. So just wickedly hilarious and so unapologetically herself. And I guess Eric was texting her, trying to convince her to come to set, because she had been working. So it was like trying, it's not exactly an easy thing to be on a 12-hour day and then come to another set. And so but then she asks him, because I think she saw me on Instagram that I was on the set, and he was like, is Lawson there? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, to beg her to come. So he sent her a picture of me being like, please, like begging her, like just be. And so she ended up being able to make it. So that's the one credit I get, I think, for
That's
convincing someone to join.
I would take
right?
it. That's a really good
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
And we kind of have a special relationship in the vertical. I can't say much more, but it was just, yeah, so fun. And I'm really excited for that one to come out, especially because I feel Viglu, the app who was doing that, is really taking some strides in the vertical space. I did Love Lies and Alibis with them, with Grace. And that one was one of the ones I read where I was like, whoa, this feels like we're pushing a lot of boundaries, which feels so fun.
I have to ask, just, I don't know if you can explain it, but you were saying kind of working with producers who've kind of obviously come from verticals, and
Yeah.
what does that actually look like? Because you were saying you were able just to do a little bit more. I don't know if you can articulate that, just
Yeah,
what that actually
absolutely.
means in a practical example. Yeah.
Yeah. So in a practical example, I would say like for most of these verticals, producers are really focused on making sure everything is handled safely and efficiently, and we're getting everything, we're hitting all the beats that the clients want,
Mm.
which is makes so much sense. Most of them aren't actors, and they're not looking at it maybe necessarily from a creative take. They're
Mm.
looking at it from a very business take, a financial take, making sure
That's
that
that's finance and management, isn't it? That's a lot of management,
exactly.
and
So
time
base
management. Yeah. So
exactly.
yeah.
So that's what producers mainly do. So having Eric and Adam be creative producers, essentially their job was just to make the project come to life in a creative way, and
Mm.
making sure that, certain elements were brought in to make it different and unique and feel, I think what so many people in the creative or in the vertical world are craving, hopefully from stories that feel nuanced and like different takes, and like they have layers and things. So having them basically, like, I could come to them with an idea and they would champion me for it. Like they would
Mm.
then take it to like the client and be like, hey, this is what we're thinking. Let's try it. Let's do it.
Mm.
And that felt really wonderful and made it really fun, just because like little things that maybe aren't in the script, but that you get to find as you do your performances. Like there's an element where Adam and I's character feel very much like siblings, which was very funny. So like he would have these moments where he would always address me independently of everyone else. He'd be like, "And Autumn." And that wasn't something that was scripted. That was something that we found as we were filming, and then he continued it on, and it was just so funny, but gave, I think, the characters so much um like so much background to their relationships
Mm.
that I think sometimes you don't always get. You don't get that level of character building because you're working on such small episodes that so much action needs to be happening that not as much character development happens. And I think with Adam writing it, he was so just like ready and willing to vouch for us when we had an idea, which felt just so fun. Like you were a part of creating something rather than just playing a part.
Um, can you see? They've mentioned sequel. Can you see a path for your character that
I
you can be in the
definitely, we were actually
sequel?
already We were talking about it. Yeah, we definitely want to elaborate on, I think, Autumn and Chad's relationship, because we had so many funny comedic moments. And then obviously acting with Adam is such a dream. And we didn't get a lot of one-on-one time. So definitely, I know they definitely want to elaborate on some of more, maybe Autumn's romantic life, which we might see more of in a way that, you don't maybe necessarily get in verticals as much. And yeah, and talking to Adam, we're constantly, because we have a little group chat, we're like pitching ideas jokingly. But I definitely want to punch Chad at one point as Autumn. I think she deserves that vindication with him. So that was one thing where I was like, can I just like rough you up a little bit, please? Can we like show a woman? Not that we should ever promote violence,
Yeah.
but if anyone deserves it, I think Adam deserves a little, or
This is
I
brilliant. You've given me that. We now know that Chad is punchable. So this is very good.
yes, yes.
Thank
So
you for
that's the
that.
little
That's
detail
my
you get.
exclusive. And
Um,
has Adam been
at
warned
least for
about your
Autumn, from
jiu-jitsu
my character,
background?
yeah, from my character's perspective, Chad is very
Yes.
punchable.
So,
Maybe not everyone's. Some people might really love him and enjoy him, but from
oh.
Autumn specifically, he can be a little bit of a dick to her, you know?
Yeah, well, I now need the sequel with this. This sounds awesome. You have
Right?
warned Adam of your, jiu-jitsu prowess, because I imagine a punch
Yes.
from you is going to
Oh,
be a little different from a.
from someone else. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I actually, it was funny. I've got to punch someone once in a vertical, and it was and like my husband doesn't remember me, and it was really funny because the first take I did of it, we did the punch, and obviously, and our client comes up to me who works for Real Short, and she goes, Lawson, I love you, you looked like you enjoyed that too much. And I was like and I go, oh, you're absolutely correct, I loved every second of that. She goes, I don't think your character would be as excited to punch someone. And I was like, you're right. You are absolutely right. That was all Lawson. That was not my character. Emma coming to punch him. It was me. So that was quite funny. So I think I get a little too gung ho sometimes with the physicality.
So we've kind of talked a bit. What sort of roles would you like to do as well? Because obviously verticals are rapidly evolving at the moment. You know, there's seen some horror ones coming out and action.
Which
Kind
is
of what
so
what
exciting.
what
I
do you see
know.
coming up, and what would you love to be involved in?
I would love to do some of the action ones. I think going back to kind of the martial arts and everything, it's just there's something so fun. And I love fight choreography and then dancing as well, like coming from a dance background. I would love to do something like that. Something I've also been interested in is I've been seeing I don't love the way they're portrayed necessarily, but there was one that I think one of the apps did where one of the character was partially deaf, and I actually am personally hard of hearing. I wear hearing aids and things, and I would love to be able to tell a story of something like that from someone who's actually experienced it, just because I think you get nuance that um I think someone writing it who doesn't actually have the firsthand experience, you just wouldn't be able to understand.
Yeah,
Because I think there were some things I saw where I'm like, that's not really how it is. And I would like to maybe display people with that. I don't want to call it an ailment because it's not, but like I think there's a proper way to do it. And I don't know if we've seen that yet. And I would like to see maybe some more of like
just
those
trying to show
things.
a slightly more authentic experience, isn't it? Of
Yeah,
just yeah,
exactly. Especially because I think, like you said, vertical spaces are growing so rapidly and what they're willing to try and show and do. And they're already towing in it, they're already teetering in it, so I think there's a way to do it and do it really well, and I would like to see maybe a story told in that way. I would also like to just see some female friendships, like a story solely based off of like a female friendship. I think would be really lovely.
because it's really interesting. I've talked to see female actresses and male actors, and obviously you will have that thing of actually I don't actually get to work often with another like lead because
Yeah.
we're always opposed or it's just a male and a female. And it's like,
Hmm.
and the male actors are like, oh, we would love to do a buddy one. And obviously all the female actors, we would love to do a buddy one. And then you look at it and
Yeah.
it's like, there's so many obviously massive smash hit Hollywood
Yeah.
movies that are that
Right.
buddy trope. It's like, why on earth aren't we doing that in verticals? So my hope is actually
Exactly.
Campus Rivals is sort of slightly starts to touch on that. And so if that
Exactly.
takes off, people see the value of, oh, well, actually, if we widen out the cast and show more of that
Hmm.
sort of relationship.
You can have a lot more of that. And that was also the beauty of Campus Rivals is I got to meet so many people in the vertical space that I would normally never get to meet or work with because we are such similar types. Like Brooke, for example. Brooke and I constantly get told we look like each other. And I think we would never work together because we look so similar unless we were sisters. And same thing with like Natalie. They're such little sweethearts.
Mm.
And being able to work with them was such a blast. And it was like I would normally never get to work alongside them because we're such similar types that if one of us isn't doing the role, the other one is.
But I just had a few very final
Beautiful.
quick questions at the end.
Yeah.
So I
Sounds
wanted to
wonderful.
ask you. Obviously, you mentioned going to see Wicked. What was your verdict on Wicked as a
I
movie, as a
loved
massive
it.
fan?
I loved it. So
Yeah.
good. I love musical theater. I would love to do musical theater one of these days. Brittany
Yeah.
and I talk about it a lot, especially with her being a dancer.
Mm.
So fun, so good. And especially because she gives very like alphabet energy and I give very Glenda energy, which is funny because if you look at us, you would maybe guess the opposite. But yeah, no, I think she would be a bit more of a cynic than I am. I tend to be a little bit more like, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah,
And she's
that's
like,
Brenda,
Lawson,
isn't it?
yeah,
You've got these
exactly.
foggy eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, and she reels me back in of being like, you're crazy. And I'm like, okay, you're right, you're right.
So, what are your other favourite musicals then? 'Cause you mentioned musical theatre. I
Oh,
always
I love Hamilton. I am such a sucker. My poor sweet, sweet boyfriend partner, listens to me. If there's like one word from one of the songs, I will then go into the full song. It's like if someone says pardon me, like pardon me, I'm Aaron Burr, sir. Are you Aaron Burr, sir? That depends. I'll just keep going. And he's like, I love you, stop. So I love that one. I was really fortunate. He's filming he films a show out on the East Coast. And so I was visiting him and we got to go to New York and we saw Just in Time, which is a musical about Bobby Darin, who is a big singer in like Frank Sinatra's time.
Somewhere under the
Yeah,
sea. Somewhere.
exactly. And it
My mum was a
was
massive Bobby Darin fan. Like used to be blared
really,
out on her radio. Yeah.
oh, I love that. See, we love
Yeah.
that kind of music. So I was so familiar. So watching that take place, was so brilliant. It was just, and to see it live, it was still in previews. So they were like still kind of figuring out the kinks of the show, but it was just so good. So I think that musical might be one of my new favorites, which felt like so cool to go see it when it's still new and shiny. And
And
um,
it's nice because then you feel a bit like, oh, yeah, yeah, I knew about this one. When it starts to go big, you're like, yes, I saw that in
yeah, you're
preview.
like, I saw it when it was in previews, darling. What are you talking about? Yeah, exactly.
And then I just have to ask as well, because we've talked a bit about, comedy and sort of female friendships. What are your
Yes.
favourite, that you've seen on screen, either TV shows or female friendships or movies? Are there ones that
Oh,
you're like, oh, these are great?
so good. I love, the movie Sisters with Amy Poehler and Tina Fey, I think is a great female friendship. I also love like the show Friends. I think that's a great display of female friendship that they feel a little bit neurotic and chaotic and nothing feels. I like when there's an element of humanity and that not everything feels so buttoned up and shiny. Especially in female friendship. I think there's something so wonderful about the messiness of having a female friend and the way you talk to each other. And like, you should hear Brittany and I's voice notes to each other. Like, they're 4 minutes long, and we go from talking about like someone we hated working with then to like what color we're going to wear for this event. Or it's just, I like the chaoticness of it. So I think those are some good displays of female friendship.
And which friend's character would you say you're closest to if you have to
Oh,
pick one?
Monica. I am so neurotic and so A-type and the mom of the group always. Like, I'm always taking care of my little ducklings. Like on Campus Rivals, I was constantly sweet little Vanessa is just the cutest thing you've ever seen in the world and just a sweetheart. But like, I very much go into mom mode of like, especially being the lead, I know how taxing that is. And so I'm like making sure I was giving her my sweatpants and then making sure she had like heating pads and like just making sure everyone's eaten and drank water. And so I would definitely say I'm probably closest to her.
See, Monica has two lines which my family throw back at me, but are so true. Of like, rules are there for the fun, but you need the rules for the fun. And
Exactly.
also,
Yes.
I'm high maintenance, but you like maintaining me, so that's fine.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to keep that one.
I
That one
do.
is going to be said to my boyfriend today.
So yeah, it's very good. It's like, yeah, but remember, you like maintaining me. It's all good.
Right,
So yeah.
exactly.
Um, you're an absolute superstar. I can't thank you enough for spending a bit of your
Oh,
Saturday talking to me because I've had so much fun, and I hope
I've
you've
had
had
so
too.
much fun. And thank you for everything you do. I just want to say you're amazing, and the fact that you advocate for us and your takes on stories and the way you're trying to push this industry has been such a dream. You have no idea how much on set we use what you do and the things you say of being like, no, this is what audiences want. Like, come on, Vertical Drama Love told us that. Like, we use you and quote you all the time. So I know every single actor in this industry is so grateful for you and everything you've done for us.
Well, I'm very grateful to you because yeah, I just want to come back to it. Like life and the world is pretty grim, to be
Mhm.
honest, as we know.
Yeah.
I made the mistake of looking at the news this morning. Scroll,
Oh,
doom, doom, doom.
I
Um,
know.
so the only good news is David Beckham's finally got his knighthood, so we can all breathe a sigh of relief. It's been a saga for 10 years in the UK about how much David wants his knighthood, so he's finally got it.
That's hilarious. Well, good for him. He finally did it.
He so wants it. He's so happy and happy. We can all move on. But yeah, my everyday life is, I'm pretty blessed really, but it is really hard. And I think this is
Yeah.
why verticals are so important. So I know that it can be easy if like, we've been a little bit sniggering at the werewolf ones, but actually the gift you give the world is like 90 minutes of escapism. And that is what everyone needs at the moment. Everyone just
Yeah.
needs to switch off from reality and
Yeah.
I just want to be taken away for 90 minutes. And either there's high stakes or there's drama or there's humor. So I really want you all to know, like, it's actually really, really important what you're doing. And is it like what
Oh.
everyone needs right now? So just
Yeah.
like, and I guess that's art reflects what people need. And you guys are doing that. So just honestly, from all of us, thank you. Because it's just blessed relief.
Oh,
So thank you.
make me
Thank you.
cry.
Yeah, I don't mean to,
So
but I know it's
sweet.
easy to be a bit like, oh, but actually, that's like surely the most amazing gift that you've like, you know, I sat and I giggled non-stop about you prancing around that house. Yes, it was silly, and yes, no one was quite right, but
I
actually, do
guess
you know what? It was joyous and it made my day. So thank you.
wonderful. I guess it's funny how the reason people watch it and the reason I do them is kind of for the same reason. It's to escape the everyday life and craziness of your own personal experience. So,
So yeah. So basically, more sneaking is needed because you do it so well.
okay. I will definitely, actually, I think I sneak in the last one I just did. So there will be a little bit more sneaking. I was doing it and I was like, I've done this before. I've snuck around a house before. So keep an eye out. It's the one I did with Brittany again. So there will be more sneaking to be had.
Excellent. And yeah, just thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wonderful. Bye, Jen, and thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.